How you guys doing? It's Mike the Star Turtle. This is my predictions video for Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 9, Battle of the Bastards. Or as I like to call it, SnowBowl 2016. We may not be getting Clegane Bowl. Hopefully we'll still get Clegane Bowl 2017, but we may not. But even if we don't, we're still getting SnowBowl 2016, so... This may be one of the, if not the most anticipated episode of Game of Thrones in the history of the show. Everyone wants to see the show's most heroic character go up against the show's most horribly, horrifically, sadistically, disgustingly evil character. Which in this show is saying a lot, but that pretty much fits Ramsay right there. But Jon Snow versus Ramsay Snow. Yeah, technically he's Ramsay Bolton now, thanks to Tommen. But then again, Tommen's kind of an inbred bastard himself, so... doesn't count, and plus SnowBowl sounds way better than Bastard Bowl. And honestly, I honestly don't get why they didn't call it Bastards. Like, that would have been just simpler, more to the point title for the episode instead of calling it Battle of the Bastards. It makes it sound, I don't know, it just feels like a overly long title. But we got 2,000 wildlings on Jon Snow's part, and we got a couple hundred other houses, other bandmen from other houses, most notably Mazon and Hornwood. And 62 more months. Now, Boltons have at least 5,000. Not to mention at least several thousand from both the Umbers and Carl Starks between them. So at least around 8 to 10,000, maybe closer to 13 or 12,000. This really doesn't look exaggerated, judging by what we've seen in the previews. So, the Starks need some help. Now, I really hope before the battle begins, we at least get word from, like, the Manderleys. Because remember, they're the one major house with a pretty decent-sized army that hasn't actually taken sides yet. It'd be nice to actually get their support, like, have them like good through 3,000, at least, maybe more bannermen. Which still make them outnumbered, but still give them more of a chance. And maybe Lord Glover will maybe not have a full change of heart, but at least send some men anyway. Just if for no other reason than to the north, if not for the Starks, because he obviously doesn't give a shit about the Starks. Maybe House Kerwin, that house that Sansa mentioned a couple episodes ago, was the same house that Ramsay in the season 5 premiere talked about flaying the parents of the youngest, of the eldest son, flaying the parents, both the Lord and his wife, and then having the oldest son who was only not that old. I forget how old he was. Take charge, and he ended up paying the taxes. But yeah, we got a hard fight coming. I know it's not going to start out that way. We're going to have a little bit of a probably setup in the beginning, like probably the first 15, 20 minutes, maybe more setting it up, and then we'll get the last like 30 minutes will be like all out action. Well, maybe they'll have like extra 10 minutes at the end just to see the immediate aftermath, unless they decide to just end it abruptly like they did with Blackwater, and then have the aftermath the next episode, which is entirely possible. All evidence points that Littlefinger will come in with Knights of the Vale and save the day at the last minute. But that kind of leads me to believe that something's up with that. I mean, Littlefinger obviously wants Sansa, but beyond that, he doesn't give a shit about the Starks or the North. I still think, I think I mentioned this a little bit in past videos, but let's mention it again. I still think that he's got it packed with the Umbers, if not also the Carl Starks. When he persuaded them to give up, I think he's the one who persuaded them to give up Rickon at that particular moment. Maybe the Carl Starks, too, considering how unfazed Lord Carl Stark was when Ramsay killed his father. You know, I think the Sand Snakes and the people of Dorne made a pact with him too, because doing what they did in the first episode without any kind of backing, it makes sense. At least that would make sense if they actually had his backing. That would mean like maybe this whole thing was to get the Northern Army, like at least the Stark Army and the Bolton Army, kind of gone, so that he would be able to take over the North, and from there be in better position to negotiate, or maybe not negotiate, but be in a much greater position to power and have in the Westeros. Also remember that Lannister army is still in the Riverlands, which is still not that far away from the north, and all those Tully bannermen who put down their arms have nowhere else to go. They got no weapons either, so they probably wouldn't be much good. But now, death predictions. I said it before in the other video, but I think Sansa will probably die. I think a lot of people are saying Tormund's going to die, but I don't think he's going to die. I think Davos is going to die, actually, because he's long overdue to die, considering how much of a good person he really is. And he's gonna find out what happened to Shireen right before he dies, like right before the battle, and he's gonna confront Miss Melisandre, but try to do a deal with it later. Maybe even Melisandre will kind of use magic to have him killed before he gets a chance to tell Jon or anybody else about it, to make sure that Jon doesn't abandon her. That would certainly be something to see, something that I would expect to happen in a show like this. I think Sansa will probably, I mean, she may not die, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. I think Jon might actually die and then get resurrected again by Melisandre, despite what he tells her in the preview. Because, like I said, Melisandre, he's her last hope. She's got nothing left to live for until her magic actually managed to work and resurrected him. If Ghost even shows up, he'll probably die. Wanda will probably die again because of budget reasons, because there's going to be a lot of CGI-heavy stuff next couple of seasons, like last 2 seasons, so they're going to have to save money wherever they can. Hope they both take out a lot of motherfucking Boltons before that happens. A lot of people are saying that it might be at the last, like, what looks like the battle's turning. The Umbers, and maybe the Karstarks too, but definitely the Umbers will probably turn against Ramsay, and they might be the one to kill him. Like, I'm still not entirely sure if Ramsay will die, at least not this episode, but I can tell you right now, I mean, it is possible that the Starks will still end up losing. We gotta remember that. But either way, this whole battle with the North will no longer be a factor, because that's why they're wrapping all this storyline up. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Umbers end up turning on Ramsay at the last minute when it looks like battle's lost, and then trying to appeal to the Starks. Now, I do wonder if Littlefinger will show up and end up just taking Winterfell for himself. Because, like I said, that's not usually until last minute saves like that. That would certainly be keeping in terms with the show's theme as well. I don't think we're going to get a badass sword fight between Ramsay and Jon. But I do hope we at least get like a little bit of a brawl. Maybe they both get knocked off their horses and they both kind of get like... Because Ramsay's the type of guy who probably wants to actually be the one to kill Jon Snow himself. Otherwise, I say there's no point. There probably wouldn't be any confrontation between them at all. But I think like I said, there's not going to be a sword fight. But I think they're going to end up trying to... Ramsay ends up trying to charge him, and they both end up getting into like a... Not a sword fight, but they both get into like a brawl, just like both on the ground, like just definitely trying to like wrestle each other, just trying to like basically trying to kill the other, because like they're both on the ground, only one of them is getting up alive. That kind of like how the governor and Rick were in Walking Dead season 4 in that final confrontation between them. But considering the fact that was done before in The Walking Dead, they probably won't do that. So they may not even be on the battlefield at all. Much as I'd like to see some kind of fight between them, we got to be prepared that in this kind of show that may not happen. But yeah, barring any kind of there's got to be something that comes along to help the Starks, because especially since I know trailers lie, but every bit of footage we've seen shows the Boltons owning the field. Especially them like advancing like Roman soldiers with the shields, just like, and the wildlings can't do shit. All they can do is just keep slowly stepping back, because there's nothing they can do against that. Unless they're trying to lure the Boltons into an ambush, like a Braveheart situation. Something like that would be cool. All I know is this episode is really, really hyped. They spent a lot of money on this episode. Like I've heard, it's supposed to be the most expensive season so far. And with the exception of that really cool CGI shot of the siege at Marine that only lasted like 2 seconds, we haven't really seen much of that. So I'm really hoping that most of that money was put into this battle. Definitely looks like it was. Like this looks like the most epic action sequence we've seen in the show so far. Remember, we've never actually seen a battle in open field between 2 armies on this show yet. I mean, there were certainly hints of it happening, especially in the war between Robb and Tywin back in season 2 and 3. But we never actually got to see it. The only battles we saw were Blackwater, which was a siege, and they still didn't have too much budget, but they were able to work around that in some clever ways. And then in Hardhome, when we saw the armies of the dead just marching, we never actually got to see armies clashing. We just got to see them, this bunch of thousands of dead people running at Jon, and we never actually saw thousands of them right on him. We just saw like dozens of them, where they actually got to the close-ups. And then even in the fighting pits of Marine, it was not quite that scale. The biggest scale was the crowd itself. After that, a lot of that was practical. And of course, Drogon, that was pretty badass too. But so this is the first time we've actually really seen an all-out battle between armies thousands strong in an open field. So that'll be cool to see. I really hope they pull it off. And I really hope this isn't disappointing. I really hope it lives up to the hype, because there's been so much hype right now. I'm sure we're all talking about the Battle of the Bastards. We're all talking about SnowBowl 2016. I apologize if my video has been boring, but I feel like I had to put something out there. If I like it, as much as I hope I will like it, that I might actually end up doing a review like the night of, even though I should be going to bed and getting ready for work next morning because I get up really early. But if I like it enough, I'll probably be able to go to sleep anytime soon anyway, so I might do it. But Battle of the Bastards, it is, as we speak, it's a little over 28 hours away. A little over 28 hours. There'll probably be another hour before this goes up, but it's gonna be a long 28 hours. And may Jon eviscerate Ramsay. But prepare yourself in case he eviscerates Jon. That could happen. Remember, that could happen. It's Game of Thrones. So, all right.